Every academic journey contains quiet struggles and quiet triumphs that few ever see. Yet each step contributes to the person who stands here tonight. We are honored to hear from Joanne Jarman of the San Carlos Apache Tribe, graduating with a Master of Psychology, a scholar whose path reflects focus, humility, and determination. Please welcome Joanne.
Good evening, relatives, faculty, honored guests, and my fellow graduates. I'm honored to speak to you tonight, and I'm so grateful to my family, friends, and community that stood by me on my journey. As I look around this room, I don't see just students, but stories written in chapters of resilience, courage, and the quiet strength that brought each of us to this moment. Each story reflects not only our individual determination, but the heritage and values that have guided us along the way. I love movies, and one of my favorites is A Knight's Tale, and it tells the story of William Thatcher, a young man who refuses to let his humble beginnings and challenges define his future. He does not yield to the expectations of who he's allowed to or expected to become, and dares to become more than anyone believed possible. Urged by his father, he shows that through courage, resilience, and relentless determination, a person can change their stars. I'm a member of the San Carlos Apache tribe, but I wasn't raised with my native family. I was adopted at 6 months old and raised as an only child by German parents who had survived immense hardships. Both of them grew up in a small town in Yugoslavia and were driven from their home during World War II. My mother traveled by covered wagon to Germany with her mother and her sisters, while my grandfather went to fight in the war. My father, still a teenager, became one of Hitler's youth and was recruited as a soldier. After the war, he became a master wood craftsman and later came to America with nothing but his resolve. He joined the American Army and built a life here. He and my mother reunited here in this country. They married and they adopted me. They had powerful stories of resilience, which I define as the art of bending through hardship, of gathering strengths from the very moments that try to undo us and rising past them. My parents passed the values in their stories on to me, but they also carried trauma. And like many families, some of that was passed on to me too. My childhood wasn't easy. Some days, the only thing harder than being at home was being in school. I grew up in a community where there was only one other Native American child, and he was also adopted. I didn't find safety there or at home, and I learned how to be resilient long before I knew how to define it. But I'm grateful for the lessons those experiences taught me, and I'm grateful for the opportunities that I had. Music, dance lessons, sports, art, theater, honestly, pretty much any activity that keeps an only child busy and out of their parents' hair. My piano became my best friend, and music became an anchor in my life when everything else was unstable. My love for music grew, and so did my achievements, and eventually it led me to earn a scholarship to attend ASU for music. Before I left for college, I met my birth family. I wrote to every Apache tribe in 2 states and found my birth mother, Delphine. The first time we met, my German mother made German potato salad for Delphine and my sisters, and God bless them, they pretended that they liked it. I was thrilled to learn that I had sisters, and I've cherished those relationships ever since. My birth mother, Delphine, who is my VIP guest tonight in the first row here, carries a resilience that I eventually came to recognize in myself, that I believe is a strength that runs through our ancestral roots. Delphine is a woman shaped by hardship, yet defined by strength. She also returned to school later in life, earning both a bachelor's and a master's degree, rising to roles as teacher, principal, and district administrator in her community. She became, yes, that deserves applause. Thank you. She became a pastor. She has walked into jails countless times, offering hope and faith to women in prison who often believed they had none left. Meeting their heartache with compassion, unwavering faith, and empathy gained from facing and overcoming her own demons. She was named among Arizona's 48 most intriguing women by the Arizona Centennial Legacy Project, and she shares that honor with other inspiring women such as Sandra Day O'Connor and Janet Napolitano. Her life is a testament to overcoming adversity through courage, strength, and deep compassion. Over time, her stories become part of mine, and I'm grateful for that. As I began my life as a student, I carried with me all the parts of my past that I had not learned how to navigate. And there were many growing pains, tough choices, marriages, hardships, and long stretches where going to school just wasn't possible. When I finally returned at age 28, determined to try again, I was struck by a very large truck on the driver's side of my very small car. It wasn't the kind of accident people walk away from, but I did. Mostly unscathed, though I lost my short-term memory for a while and experienced immense pain from absorbing the intense impact. I pushed myself to stay in school, but I couldn't perform well, and eventually I quit again. Shortly after, I remarried and raised 6 children, 3 stepchildren and 3 I gave birth to. I call every one of them mine. And after, thank you. And after turning many pages in my life story with chapters full of struggle, love, loss, challenges, and self-discovery, I found myself here again. I've actually performed many times on this very stage in orchestras and recitals since I was a teenager. So here I stand 35 years after my first college class. I had to do that math twice because that's an impossibly big number. It was very sobering. I don't feel old enough for a number that high, and at the same time, I feel as though I've lived several lifetimes along the way. So here I am now, standing in front of you, realizing that life has a way of leading you to where you were always meant to be. If you had asked me years ago if I would ever finish my degree, I would have said it wasn't going to be part of my story. But here I am, and here you are, with your own stories of perseverance. Whether it took 4 years or 40, whether your path was straight or a little bit sideways, the point is you made it. No matter where you started, no matter what you've survived, no matter how many detours you've taken, or how long it's been since you first dared to dream, you've dared greatly and you've reached your goal. And you're just getting started. I hope that when you look at me, you don't just see the resilience in my story, but your own courage reflected back at you. The same courage and strength our ancestors carried through sacrifice and through hardship. As we write the chapters of our lives, we carry that legacy forward. I hope you see it's never too late to learn, to grow, to become who you are meant to be. You will face hills, valleys, moments of triumph, and moments that bring you to your knees. You will feel defeat, and you will feel immense joy. And through every chapter, you will discover your strength, you will find your courage, and you'll turn your wounds into wisdom. Learn to embrace every part of your story. I wouldn't trade one heartache or one tear. Every one, along with all the joys and triumphs, has shaped who I am and led me to this moment. The other day, I watched last year's American Indian graduation ceremony, and I wondered if I belonged here. I saw beautiful cultural dresses, heard the native music, and all the things that weren't part of my experience growing up. And I felt like I was back in grade school when I didn't feel like I fit in. Then I remembered my story, and I realized that I do belong here with all of you because even though we may not have had the exact same experiences, we all share the same resilience and the strength that our ancestors carried. So throughout your life, remember who you are. Remember your heritage, remember your infinite worth, and remember that in the end, you are the one who writes your story. And if you only remember one thing that I said tonight, remember this: you are strong, and you can change your stars. God bless the class of 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. One more time for Joanne.